Don't lose your house or your life. Those who prepare survive. Watch this video. This video could save your life. Today we are going to talk about emergency survival. Staying alive is part of health. It's amazing how unprepared most people are. There are all kinds of emergencies, obviously flood, fire, tornado, hurricane, earthquakes, but there are other ones that people aren't aware of, like EMPs, which are a lot more dangerous. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to prepare you for different types of emergencies and what to do about them. And of course, being prepared is the best thing of all. The worst time to start doing things is when the emergency is happening. Now, obviously, there are emergencies that happen inside the home, like you can start a fire inside the house. But what if a fire is sweeping through your neighborhood, like the raging wildfires in California, and you see it coming and you've only got 1 minute to do something and leave your house? So I'm going to cover all those different areas. The first step is to make sure everybody in the household knows where the shutoffs are for your house's electricity, water, and gas. Practice sometimes. Do drills. Pretend, hurry, get the gas shut off. And then everybody knows right where to run and do it. There's small shutoffs for water and gas. Every toilet, every sink has a water shutoff. There's a gas shutoff by the stove, but you also need to know where the main shutoffs are that shuts off all the gas to the house, all the water, and all the electricity. For example, did you know that if you start smelling this really strong fish smell in the house and nobody's cooking fish, that could mean that if electrical fire has just started in your house, wires, that's what they smell like, is fish. So be aware of things like that. So obviously the first step is to make sure you have the shut off. So you shut off the electricity, shut off the water, shut off the gas. Second thing is obviously fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers everywhere in the garage, in the kitchen, wherever you can do them. But what if you don't have a fire extinguisher or it's used up? Well, you should at least have this. This is a fire blanket. You hang this up. They're cheap, like $20. You hang them up, in the garage, in the kitchen, wherever, throughout the house. And then if there's an emergency, you pull the cord. Inside is a fiberglass blanket. This doesn't burn. So the best way to put out a fire is to smother it, make sure it doesn't have any oxygen to breathe. So what you do is you open up this blanket and then you throw it over the fire and the fire goes out. You can also wrap this around yourself if you have to run through a fire. This is created by a fireman, and it's one of the best ways to put out a fire without burning yourself. So fire blanket. I'll put links to everything down below. Obviously, the next thing to do is to have first aid kits. There's different sizes, different kinds. There's huge ones like this, which have all kinds of stuff in them. Then there's one, we have one of these in each of our cars. So you've got one of those. And of course, there's little dinky ones like this, but it's better to have something than nothing. So make sure you have first aid kits available and know what's in them and how to use them. Now, it's amazing how many people do not have something as basic as a poncho. You have to run outside, fix something, or run away from the house, or whatever it is to protect yourself from the rain, because a lot of times emergencies happen in the rain. So poncho, just a basic thing like that. All right, so let's start going through the different scenarios. First one is the power goes out. In normal situations, the power can come back on in a few hours, but there are situations where the power is out for weeks. For example, Katrina, when Hurricane Katrina happened, a lot of people didn't have power for a month and a half, over 6 weeks without power. That is pretty scary. So it's good to have your own power ready to go if something happens. I mean, a lot of people freak out if the power's out for more than like 5 hours. So a generator is really good. Obviously, and have your own fuel supply. This one here is about $500 or $600. You can get them at Home Depot. There's different sizes, different kinds. They're like a lawnmower engine. You just pull the cord and it starts and you plug stuff in. Make sure you have something in the gas so it doesn't go bad over time, and then switch out your gas. I could go on forever about the details, but a generator is good. Obviously, solar panels are good too. I'll get to that in a second. But first, I guess the situation is what happened. You want to know what happened. You want to contact the outside world and know what happened. Well, that's where these emergency radios come in. You can get one like this. This is really cool. This is an all-purpose, it's got a little compass on it too. Anyway, so it's got an antenna that, it's a radio. It's got a solar panel, so it charges with solar power, or you can charge it with little batteries like that, AAA, AA. You can charge it with USB. It has a light on the front. It has weather radio, emergency radio. And then if worst case scenario, you can crank this to create electricity that way. And so this is a great little device to have. There's different versions of them. They're really cheap. They're like 20 bucks or something. So here's two different kinds here. One step up from that is these things here. These are GMRS radios. These are what people who climb mountains use. These have a longer range. These ones you can actually communicate. You can call for help or talk to people. It's like a walkie-talkie. This one's called a rocky-talkie. And they come with different antennas for different situations that you're in. If you go hiking in the mountains, or you're out by yourself in nature, or you just want to know what the situation is with the world, or call for help, this is a good thing to have. This is a GMRS. This is a more powerful signal than this. This is a lower power. This is actually, you know what this is? This is a CB radio. Truckers still use them. This is, look at Radio Shack brand, realistic. They don't even make these anymore, but you can still buy CB. This is a portable CB radio. You can plug it in with any 12-volt power source. There's two emergency bands, channel 9 and 19, I believe. So CB radio, which is up to 2 or 3 miles, and then this thing is like 5 to 8 miles. You know how people used to watch TVs with the antennas and stuff, and then they stopped that, and now everything's digital? Did you know you can still get TV with an antenna? They still broadcast. I saw this when I went to see my mom in Kentucky. She still watches TV with an antenna. I said, how are you getting a signal? Well, they switched from analog to digital, and by law, the Federal Communications Commission requires TV stations to offer free digital broadcasts for public access, so anyone with an antenna and a digital tuner can receive them. And you can watch your favorite TV shows on a little portable TV like this. People don't even know about this. So this is how you communicate and get information with the outside world. Obviously, some flashlights. I highly suggest you get ones that charge with USB, not the old style batteries. Anything that's USB chargeable, you can charge with solar power, like this one here. This is a pocket-sized solar panel. Here's another kind. That's a solar panel. That's a light, so you can see for emergencies. Here's your USB plugs right there. So this is a great rugged outdoor. See the green light? That means it's got power. It's getting power right now from the sun. I'm indoors, but it's still charging the battery. Look at this. These are all solar panels right here. This is 60 watts. So you can charge a more powerful device with this. There's a whole box of candles here, just basic wax candles for emergencies. Don't go crazy with candles. A lot of people burn those little, romantic candles in the house. Did you know that candles put out toxic gases like carbon monoxide and things, just like cars do? Because it's petroleum-based. You're burning a petroleum-based product, just like a car burns gasoline and oil, which are petroleum-based. So candles are good, but don't use them indoors very much if you don't have to. If there's an emergency, where are you going to get your water from? Usually, almost every other house in town has a swimming pool. You can't drink swimming pool water straight, but you can filter it. Also, there is lakes and rivers, which obviously are pretty filthy, so you have to filter those. But there is water around. Here's one for a household. This is a Berkey water filter system. The top half has 4 filters in it. Put your water in there, and then it trickles down, fills up the bottom canister, and you just take the water as needed. This is one way of filtering any kind of questionable water for drinking. Another way is this one here. This is called an aqua brick. You got your filter, which goes into your canister here, and then you can stack them and take your water with you. A more emergency-based system is the Life Straw. It's portable. You just stick it in a river or a lake or anything that's questionable. You drink the water through the straw, and it filters it as you're drinking it. This is a great personal water filtration system. One of these filters up to 1,000 gallons, and it filters bacteria, parasites, microplastics, and all kinds of things like that. Life Straw also makes a canister like this, which has the filter built into it. So you put the filthy water in here, and then you put that on there, and then you drink, and it goes through the filter as you're drinking. Another way of doing it, these are packs that you put in your water. Each packet treats 10 liters or 2.5 gallons of water. This is by P&G. There's also little tablets. This one is by Aquatabs, little tablets that purify your water. Or here's another one also by Portable Aqua. This is really portable for emergencies, for making water drinkable. Now there's an even cooler way to make your own water. You don't have to depend on filthy water from rivers or lakes or even a swimming pool or anything like that. You can actually pull water from the air. Technology has gotten so cool nowadays. These things are called AWG, atmospheric water generators. They come in different sizes. For residential, a small one that can make like 5 gallons or 20 liters a day is about $500 or $600. The premium residential system, like the Hydro Pixel, can generate up to 91 liters. That's 24 gallons a day. They're $3,500, which actually isn't really that bad. They also have solar ones, solar AWGs. You might want to look into those because the ones that I was talking about up until now, they run off of your house electricity. But what if your house doesn't have electricity? So then the solar ones, the solar AWGs. Now, something to keep in mind, and I'll talk about this in the next video, is if an EMP happens, an electromagnetic pulse, which wipes out everything that's electronic, even this won't work anymore unless it's protected with a Faraday cage, which basically means the only way something electronic can survive an EMP is if it's inside of a metal enclosure, totally sealed with no little holes or anything. People laugh at wrapping things in tinfoil or something like that, but you need to seal your electronic devices in something that is totally metal enclosed with no holes or gaps whatsoever. And the way you can tell if something's going to survive an EMP to test it is to put a cell phone inside that your metal cage or your whatever it is you're using, and then call the phone. And if it rings, then you know that it's not going to survive an EMP. If you call your phone and it's not going to ring, then you know you've got a good Faraday cage. And we'll talk about this in an upcoming video. Basically, you got to enclose it completely in a sealed metal container of some kind. Wrapping something in tinfoil is a good start. Obviously insulated, so it's not touching the metal thing. But anyway, so that's how you can make your own water, is AWGs, atmospheric water generators. Obviously, camping gear is the way to prepare for emergencies because it means you have to be self-sufficient without depending on your house. So this is camping stuff. This is what I've been using for years. This is actually the stuff that I got back in the 90s. This has actually been out in nature. And you buy these sets like this. This is a set that has a pan and look at this, it's stackable. So you have a pot, a smaller pot within that pot. And it's really cool because the handles, they go like this. So you can hold it like that, and then it folds shut and goes in here. You know, little things like that, prospector stuff. All kinds of different ways to do it. You even have little pots like this. See how they fit inside of each other? Stainless steel, and then the handles flip out like that, so you can cook your food and boil your water and do just like the campers do. Obviously, you got to start a fire somehow, so matches, even waterproof little things for matches. I think a smarter way is the 50-pack of lighters. This will last you forever. This is like, if you can go for a year with this. And that takes us to the food category. Obviously, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I'm a strong advocate of learning the wild edible plants that grow in your area and how to live off them. But in an emergency where most people live in suburbia and they don't know anything that's edible out there in the world, I suggest this. This is camping food. This is also emergency food. This is dehydrated food that all you got to do is add some hot water to it and you've got meals. They come in buckets like this. You can store this up to 25 years. I would switch them out every 5 to 10 years, but it's a good thing to have on hand no matter what. Look at this food. Look at this. Cuban coconut, black bean and rice, chana masala, Kathmandu curry, 3-bean veggie stew, cinnamon apple oats, peanut butter and banana oatmeal. This stuff sounds great. Louisiana red beans and rice, pad thai, Three Sisters Southwestern quinoa and beans, mango sticky rice. This is amazing. Like, you got gourmet meals, and all you got to do is, matter of fact, you don't even need a pot. These things are designed, you pull it open, you pour hot water in it, and you close it up, and you shake it up like this, stir it a little bit. So this is your pot. You can eat right out of this bag. You don't even need these metal pots to do it. So amazing stuff. Again, for me, this is just emergency food. This is not something that you eat on a regular basis. But if you know, you could actually do pretty good for a long time with stuff like this. This doesn't weigh much at all. All it requires is hot water, and you've got your nutrition and you've got food. You can also make it yourself. You can dehydrate or freeze dry and vacuum pack your own food. You can get vacuum sealers for under $100. Freeze dryers are expensive. They go from $2,000 to $10,000. It freezes the food first, and then it sucks the moisture out through sublimation with a vacuum pump. So it's basically a freezer and a vacuum pump. It's expensive. A dehydrator does the opposite. They dry the food by heating it. Don't be fooled. There's a lot of cheap stuff online for $100 claiming to be a freeze dryer, those are actually dehydrators. And there's nothing wrong with a dehydrator. It does the opposite though. They dry the food by heating it. And those are the ones that you can get for $100 or $200. The general rule is if it's under $1,000, it's not a freeze dryer, it's a dehydrator. But really what you should do is learn how to survive off of the plants growing in your area, in nature. I'll get to that in a minute. But for most people who don't want to do that, who just have no idea what's edible and what isn't, this is a good way to go. All right, so now we're going to get to the serious stuff. What if you have to leave your house? What if you have to run away? Your house is about to burn down. The wildfire's coming through the neighborhood. You're about to lose your house. Or what if, even worse, there's an EMP attack? I'll make a video about that in the next video. EMP is an electromagnetic pulse. And what that is where there is something that wipes out the electric grid of the whole country. Two scenarios where that can happen. One is the sun can create a giant corona effect where it just it blasts all the electronic circuits in the world could go out. Everybody's so dependent on electronics and the internet and, you know, the modern world. It's all digital, everything. But that is such a delicate balance. That could go out at any moment. And what happens if digital and electronics and everything electric goes out? No more banks, no more, you're not going to get any water from the power company. You're not getting electricity. Your ATMs are gone. People are going to go crazy. They estimate if the power goes out within a year that most people will be dead because they don't know what to eat or anything like that. But the worst thing isn't the power going out. The worst thing is people. People go crazy. If they need food, they're going to go to the grocery stores and loot those. But after the grocery stores are cleaned out, they're going to go house to house. And the last thing you want is an angry mob with weapons coming to your house to take everything you have. The best scenario in a situation like that, when the world goes crazy, is to go out to nature. What are you going to take out in nature? I used to have a scenario where, for example, when I lived in LA, I had an emergency suitcase to grab when there was an earthquake. We had a backup system of clothes and things that we just grabbed the suitcase and we ran out the door in case we lost the house. If there's an EMP attack, your car's not going to work. Or there's a situation like, say, the wildfires have closed off the roads and the road is burning, or you can't leave, so you have to grab whatever you have and jump the fence and run. You can't take something like this if you're going to jump the fence and run. I mean, you have to have something more portable. That's where this comes in. And again, in a wildfire situation where you have to run like hell and you got to be fast, this thing isn't going to, you're not going to be like, you know, like you can't do that. You got to grab something that you can actually put on your back and carry it and run like with something on your back. That's again where camping stuff comes in. I got this from Temu. This is from China. This is only $55 and it's a 30-liter bag. It's pretty good. It's lightweight. But you got to think like, okay, so what are you going to put in this emergency bag? You should think about this beforehand. Have this ready to go. So if you have literally 1 minute to leave the house, you're going to have your life. Think about it. You're going to lose your house at any minute. What are you going to take with you? Because you're going to be living off of that stuff indefinitely. So obviously a couple of clothes, but other things too. I would suggest a backup hard drive that has everything that's on your computer, your bank accounts, your personal information, copies of your passport, your driver's license, your business information, and personal stuff like things that are important to you, like pictures from weddings, the birth of your baby, anything that's special to you. Have it on your hard drive because this might be all you have left of your life. Cash is good. Always have some cash ready to spend. Remember, the ATMs might not be working, so cash is king. So this is a 30-liter. This is a 70-liter. It's still not that big for having your whole life on your back, but it's lightweight. It's great for running, like if you're in a hurry to take with you. The cities are going to be the first to go. Anything that's a city where there's a lot of people, there's going to be desperation. You got to get into nature, which means you might have to go 10 miles, 20 miles on foot. So you want lightweight. Don't buy heavy backpacks. Keep everything as light as possible. These things are super light. This company's hyper light, and this stuff is really expensive. This thing is $400. The reason is it's really lightweight. But really all this is, it's basically a bag. That's all it is. And look at this. It's tarp material. It's just a tarp that's made into a bag that they put some straps on. $400 for that. I've got a better idea. Duffel bags. This is a 75 liter. It's almost the same size as this. I think this is too small for having your whole life to take with you. I would say this one. This is a 130 liter. This is a by Fitum. This is only $60. So this is $400. This is only $60. And look at how much stuff you can put in. It's got all these bags and pouches and things. Here's how you turn a duffel bag into a backpack. You've got these two straps. You just go like this. Put it on your back and away you go. What makes a backpack is you've got these cushioned straps and a hard thing right here that is good for supporting your back. So what I suggest you do, anybody who goes camping knows these things. These are the mats that you lie under your sleeping bag to cushion you from the rocks. What most people do is they roll them up and put them on top of the backpack or hang it underneath. My suggestion is use that as the backing to keep your back supported, so it's between you and the duffel bag. If you're still with me, that means your chances of survival are a lot higher than most other people's. Okay, so this is a 130 liter duffel bag. Okay, it's $60. I'll put the links if I can get them down below. This is 120 liters. This is 130 liters. This is 120 liters, and it's only $37. I got it off of Amazon. Let's open it up together and see what it is. This is look at how small it goes into. It opens up. Look at this. Wow. A nice, big, giant duffel bag. $37. And it weighs very, very little. Okay, so now here's another one. This one's kind of interesting because this is kind of a hybrid between a suitcase, a backpack, and a duffel bag. This is a duffel bag with wheels. This little tiny thing here is going to become the same size as that. Nice heavy-duty wheels on there. And big, giant duffel bag. And it's got straps you can use as a backpack. So this is the best of all worlds. You can wheel it if you're on the road, you can just pull it behind you. You can wear it as a backpack, or you could carry it as a duffel bag. And it's only $56. 140 liters, same size as this. Here's one for $60. It has a duffel bag with wheels that has actual backpack straps. It's 90 liters, waterproof. You can carry it or roll it or wear it as a backpack. It's perfect for all situations. It does weigh 5 pounds though. Here's a more lightweight one for $55. Tiny bit smaller, but it also has backpack straps. Again, you can roll it or carry it or wear it. I'll put the links down below. All right, where are you going to sleep in? And stuff like that. So now we're getting to tents and sleeping bags. Here's actually two little tents. They're called life tents. All these is just foil. It's an emergency shelter. It keeps you dry. They weigh nothing. And you also have two little sleeping bags. These are basically human-sized foil pouch that you lie in. It keeps all your body heat contained. This is actually a really good survival way of staying warm. All right, then we get to tents. Now, a typical tent is like this big and it's heavy and it's not that fun to carry. But if you're running for your life and you got to go 20 miles on foot, get the most lightweight thing you can because you've got other things to carry too. That's where these suggestions come in. Now the cheap ones you can get from China. This thing is only $22. Holds up to 2 people. It weighs almost nothing. Really, really lightweight. Here's another one from AliExpress. Really, really lightweight. Great little shelter for 1 or 2 people. The next step up, it's a little bit heavier. This is $100. Here's the tent. This is about triple the weight, and it comes with a mat that you lay down that's waterproof. This is still more lightweight than a typical tent that people take camping with. But, if you got to carry your life on your back, these things work and they keep you dry and they keep the bugs out. And then the next step from that is this thing here, $70 on Amazon. This weighs as much as these combined, or even more so. This is actually pretty heavy. All right, so that's the tents. This is what protects you at night when you're sleeping. Now let's get back to the fire thing that we talked about earlier. How are you going to make the fire? Well, this is your stove. This is a great little camping stove. It's just a really lightweight metal thing that opens up. There's your little camping stove. There's these things called fuel tablets. These are pellets. And what you do, this is hexamine. and you put it in here, you light it, and it catches on. It lights for a long time, it burns, and then you put your pot on that, and you can boil your water or cook your food or whatever it is you want to do. Do not use these things indoors. Hexamine, when it burns, creates formaldehyde. You need to do this outdoors. Combustion should not be done indoors anyway. You shouldn't burn anything indoors. You should always be in a well-ventilated area, on the patio, on a porch, outdoors, in nature, but don't burn anything, create a fire indoors, especially hexamine tablets. But this is an alternate fuel source. And then there's matches, of course, and like I said, those lighters are probably the best way. Now, here's a way to start your own fire if you don't have matches or lighters or anything like that. This is a great little way of starting a fire. It's a rod and a piece of metal connected that you can take with you, and what you do is one of the best things for kindling is cotton balls. It weighs nothing. Lay a little cotton ball, take this thing, and you stroke that, and the cotton ball will start catching fire. Or dry leaves, anything that's dry. Dry pine needles, dry leaves. Actually, a great thing is lint. Lint catches fire really easily. That's another reason you should keep your ducts clean from the back of your dryer, the washer and dryer. Cotton balls, lint, dry leaves. Great for starting a fire. What are you going to have the main fire be fueled by? Wood? Well, you're going to have to cut down some branches or stuff. This is where something like this comes in handy. This is a portable saw that you can cut branches out in nature. If you really, really want to travel light, this, my friend, is a saw. This is actually a super lightweight saw. What it is it's a little sharp bits on a piece of wire, and then you go like this. You saw back and forth, and you cut your branches like that. This weighs nothing. This is like the coolest little survival thing you can get. It's a little saw like that. These are silicone water cups. They pop open, and here's your little water cup, and it's silicone, and so it goes flat for camping. Camping place is a great place to start for survival gear. This thing is amazing. If you're only going to grab one thing, I highly suggest you grab this. This thing here is an entire survival kit. It weighs 4.5 pounds. It has a tent, a shovel, a knife, a hammer, an axe, a saw, lantern lights, first aid kit, compass, a whistle, some rope, emergency blanket, scissors, tweezers, fish hooks, fishing line, fire starter kit, a raincoat. It's 250 pieces and it's only $42. It's all about staying light, because when you're on your feet and you're running for your life, every ounce makes a difference. It all adds up. Every little bit adds up. When I go hiking for photography, I take lightweight gear, and it's amazing how every ounce feels like a pound, and every pound feels like 10 pounds after a few miles. But the most important thing of all, of what this all comes down to, think about it, is this is what my whole channel's been about, is learning how to live the way nature intended. Going out into nature and learning how to survive with the things that you find in nature. This is what I've been saying since the first day. And people have gotten so out of touch with learning. Like, you put them in nature, they don't know what's edible. They don't know what to do. They don't know the first thing about surviving in nature. Well, nature has everything you need to survive and to eat and to thrive. Everybody's lost touch with that in the modern world. That's what my channel's been about. And that's really what health comes from, is learning how to live and eat the way nature intended. So learn the wild plants that are growing in your area. This is probably the most valuable thing out of everything I showed you here today. It's an edible plant guide. This is the world's best edible plant guide. I wrote it because I couldn't find anything that was small enough to take with you and it has pictures of everything and explains what the health and medicinal properties of everything is. It shows you what's edible and what isn't, where to find it, what it looks like, how to prepare it, no matter what region you're in. And it shows you the toxic, poisonous ones versus the edible ones, and the differences between them. Really, really important to know. You don't want to be eating poison hemlock because it looks very much like wild carrot. So really important stuff. The Free Food and Medicine Edible Wild Plant Guide. If you're going to survive, you need this. You need to know what's out there and what you can eat, how to prepare it, and how you can survive. Most people don't even know that half the stuff that's growing wild in their neighborhood is actually edible. And it's good for them. It's actually better for them than what they're eating in the refrigerator. So edibleplantguide.com. This is probably the best thing for your survival. If you have none of this other stuff, and you're going to run out there into the world, into nature, away from your burning house or whatever it is, or there's a flood and you need to know how to survive. No, and everybody else is like freaking out because the grocery stores are shut down or flooded or burned or looted. You're out there in the neighborhood and you're finding things to eat because you know what's edible. It's really, really important. Anyway, so survival in an emergency is part of being healthy. Staying alive is part of being healthy. So I hope this really helped you obviously preppers are going to start leaving comments like, oh, you forgot this, you forgot this, you forgot that. This is just a basic rundown. This could go on forever, but I wanted to give you the basics of survival in the different situations. In the next video, I am going to bring James back and we're going to talk about EMPs, which is something most people don't know about, but it is a possibility. It can happen. So we're going to talk about that in the next video. Until then, I hope I'm going to put links for a lot of this stuff down below if you're interested in any of it. Until then, think about it. Start thinking about what to do in an emergency. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Does everybody in your household know where the water shut off, the electric shut off, the gas shut off is, and basic stuff like that? Get some fire blankets. Really important. I'll see you in the next video. Stay healthy.